This podcast contains explicit language.
Bafangu!
Houston, flight is go.
Myla, let's go. STM. Safety contact.
From Assignment X, thesoniashow.com, and Amalgamated Storytelling, this is the Dorking Out Show, the podcast for people who love stories from movies, TV, books, podcasts, and everywhere else.
Welcome to episode 123 of Dorking Out. This is the Chris Hates Everything edition. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and I've got good news today because Christopher Allan Smith is taking a sabbatical from his sabbatical to talk about everything he's been watching. Welcome to your show, Smith.
Well, it's not just my show, and I'm only here for a brief time, so I have to talk about 3 or 4 or 5 or how many ever months worth of stuff in 1 hour, but I'm confident if you will let me get a word in edgewise,
I won't.
that I will be able to make this happen.
Quiet. Be quiet. Let me talk. Will you let me finish? Let me finish.
That's right. Oh my God, I've broken out of my rhythm. You're getting words in edgewise and center. So,
Have you listened to the show at all since you've been gone?
well, I'll be honest with you, Sonia. I have listened to as much as I can. I'm a little bit behind, so I would appreciate no spoilers. I have listened up until the part where you put Christmas lights up in the living room to communicate with David in the world beyond with the flashing lights and whatnot. And then there was the part where he was standing in front of Laura Palmer's house, but it wasn't really her house anymore for some reason. I don't know what the story was there. And then the last episode that I listened to, Riker said, "Mr. Worf, fire." And then that was it. It said to be continued, and my jaw was on the floor. That's all I know of dorking out for the last 2 months.
Oh my God, you are going to be so disappointed when you hear the rest.
But actually,
I didn't think that's where it was going to go. When she wakes up and it was all a dream.
oh my God, yeah, that's right. Actually, what's going to happen?
I'm going to wake up and actually I'm going to go into the bathroom and it's going to be you in the shower.
I was just going to say that. And then I'm going to say, it was all a dream. And you're going to say, get out of my shower. Jesus Christ.
Put on some clothes.
Why are you in my shower? Why are you in my house? What are you doing here? That's what you're going to hear.
Oh, it writes itself.
That's right.
Do you want to talk about what you've been working on? Or should we just talk about other stuff?
I've been working on a lot of stuff. I've been working on a lot of stuff. You know, it's funny.
I'll be the judge of that.
I have been yammering about Jet Jurgens, working on Jet Jurgens since this podcast started. We're past our 2-year.
Is Jet
anniversary.
Jurgens the porno you've been working on?
Yeah, pretty much. But what I've actually been doing is working. Actually, you know, I run a video production business, which, you know, Jet Jurgens is still not done. The video production business is here. I don't know if I've ever really mentioned it, other than to tout my Emmys. Oh yeah, I lost another Emmy. I lost an Emmy, which this is a little bit of inside baseball for people who've never been nominated before. But I'm going to tell you guys because you're my friends and you like the show. It's a lot better to win them.
Oh, that's really
honest.
surprising because I always heard it was an honor just to be nominated.
Oh, it is officially. That's the official party line.
Got it. Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
All
no.
right, good to know.
I get
Everyone's a
that.
liar. Welcome to Trump's America.
That's right. And then let's see, what else have I done? I've been working on something I can't really talk about. It's not. It's a project that's not really mine, but hopefully it might be something that will be on television here in the next 6 months. But we'll see, or maybe not, depending on what happens.
You're already working on the TV movie about those kids that were trapped in the mine. Is that it?
Right. That's right.
I knew it.
I'm
starring Marky Mark
as Elon Musk
As all the kids.
talking shit about rescuers for some weird reason. But anyway, we don't need to get into that now.
That's so weird.
It's everything is so weird. So yeah, I've been working on a lot of stuff that's not very interesting to talk about. I've been working on my business a lot, which is, something that I've been throwing a lot of irons into a lot of different fires over the last year, and it got to a point where it's like I need to start pulling some of them out. I need to start paying attention to stuff. So if there's anybody that needs video production done, what I was going to say is it's funny. I've been plugging this book since the beginning of the podcast, but what I should have been doing is telling people, I do have this fantastic video production business, Emmy Award winning.
That's why I
video
win Emmys.
Talent. That's right, video talent. That I never plug that, and so I figured I'll come back and plug that, and then talk about some movies and stuff too.
Well, he's very good at what he does, folks. I will vouch for that.
Thank you, Sonia.
You're welcome.
But what I am even better at is talking aimlessly about pop culture.
Fact. I've endorsed the skill for him on LinkedIn.
So holy cow.
Where should we start?
I got to get it all out. Well, you know what? Let's start here.
Okay.
We're going to talk about, we're going to do a total shotgun round. We're going to talk about Ant-Man, Hereditary, Ocean's 8, Incredibles 2, Jurassic World, Solo, Sicario, Succession, and Billions, and Glow, Queer Eye, and Parts Unknown, all in one super mega blast. Oh, also Westworld. I guess we are talking about Westworld. Yes.
Yeah. And the Emmys.
That's right. And the Emmys, which I am, for some reason, not quite as enthusiastic about as I once was.
I wonder.
But that's right. All right, so we're going to blast through all that. But one thing that was interesting that Sonia and I were talking about is I've been very busy, haven't had a lot of time. One of the reasons I took the sabbatical is I haven't had a lot of time for pop culture. So we are going to talk about the only things I've had time for in the last 2 months. And I was talking to Sonia about Ant-Man.
Yes.
And Wasp. And you have not seen Ant-Man.
This is correct. I did not see Ant-Man, but I did go and see Ant-Man and the Wasp because you had seen it and you wanted to talk about it. And actually, you have quite a long list here of movies I haven't seen. And I said, pick one.
That's right.
And I'll make sure I see it this weekend.
That's right. I'm very curious because I was surprised by my own reaction because I am famous on this podcast.
Oh my God, you are such a Marvel fangirl.
Such a Marvel fanboy, and I was kind of surprised by my reaction. But as someone who never saw the first Ant-Man.
Yeah.
What was your reaction?
I thought it was super fun.
Okay.
I had a really good time watching it. It was very light. But that's kind of what I liked about it. It's almost like the anti-Infinity War. Like it's not about saving the world. It's almost like a heist movie. And I like that. It was very entertaining. I think, Paul Rudd is great. He's always great. I liked Evangeline Lilly a lot. It was really fun. I was kind of surprised because your reaction was very meh. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll go see it. And
yeah, it was definitely, it was fun, but I was kind of, it felt like a movie that was kind of evaporating behind me as I was watching it. And I was surprised by Ant-Man. I think there's one of the reasons I'm such a Marvel fanboy.
So as you were watching it, it was like Thanos snapped his fingers.
Pretty much. And it was just disappearing behind me.
Got it.
But, one of the reasons I'm such a Marvel fanboy is, in the first couple stages, they did, okay, we're going to do Thor movie. Then we're going to do Captain America. Then we're going to do Iron Man. And they went through all these things, and then they put a couple things on the schedule that's just like, I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're going a little too far. They put Guardians of the Galaxy on. They put Ant-Man on. So when Guardians came out and it was fantastically fun, it was like, wow, that was very surprising. Maybe they can pull this off, or maybe this is some weird one-off, whatever. then when they did Ant-Man, it was like, oh, they can modulate what they want to do with these movies. They don't all have to be world-ending cosmic showdowns. It could just be some fun, larky little heist movie. And Ant-Man and the Wasp felt, there's a lot of talk about comic book fatigue, which I have not really felt in these movies until this movie.
Oh, interesting.
Like,
okay.
I've seen all of Paul Rudd be charming in the first movie. I've seen a lot of these beats in the first movie, and they're hitting on them in pretty much the same way that they did in the first movie. So in a weird way, and I think in the later stages of the movie, it wrote itself into some weird corners that they kind of arbitrarily put ticking clocks on certain problems and had things work in such a way that they could just kind of snap their fingers and fix things at the end of the movie because they were kind of like running out of time.
Right.
Which is not something that Marvel movies really do. This felt like a kind of a 90s style comic book movie sequel where it takes everything that they did in the first one, repeats it, and then amps it up by 30%.
I don't think that's a 90s sequel thing. I think that's a sequel thing.
It is a sequel thing, but here's the thing with a lot of movies, like the Dark Knight trilogy, or like pick your Captain America movies or your Thor movies or your Iron Man movies. Each of those movies is pretty different from the other ones. They're trying to do different things. They're trying to break new ground within their within their sandbox. I mean, if you look at the original Thor and then you look at Thor Ragnarok, it's like they are going in totally two different directions. They're trying to do two totally different things. So it keeps the movies fun and fresh and whatever. And this one was just, I don't know. It was fun to watch, but for me, it kind of ranks, and I'm not usually you got to rank Marvel movies or whatever. This was like right around The Incredible Hulk. And it might be
ridiculous.
Like below Incredible Hulk, where it's like, yeah, it was fun. Yeah, I liked it. But I'm totally disengaged from it and totally not interested in it. And I really like Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly. And I like everybody that was in it, but I think Paul Rudd was such a winning presence in the first Ant-Man and in Captain America Civil War. And he's always such a winning presence that I think the makers of it just leaned too much into, people love Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd's fun to watch. Let's just watch him go.
Right.
I think they just relied too much on his charm, and a lot of the writing seemed pretty soggy and pretty...
I will say this. There isn't really a story arc for Paul Rudd in this movie.
Right. Exactly.
It's like kind of, we talked about this a little bit when we talked about Black Panther, in that Ant-Man is maybe a supporting character in his own story.
Yeah.
In this movie, because this one, it's pretty much about the Wasp.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah.
Which is totally fine.
But I thought the movie was really entertaining, I think, and I really enjoyed the car chases around San Francisco and how they are able, use their powers to get big and get big, and get small, and all of that was really new to me because I hadn't seen the first Ant-Man. I like it when things are filmed in San Francisco. It makes me excited because I live here. But also, unfortunately, they show a lot of that stuff in the previews.
Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't like a really big surprise for me that those things were happening. I was just kind of waiting for those parts of the movie to happen.
Right. Yeah. And then, as the movie starts to close, it's just kind of like, oh, I guess I have already kind of seen all this stuff. Because, as you're watching something and the preview is kind of embedded subconsciously in the back of your mind, it's like, okay, I've seen this part, I haven't seen this part, and then it gets really big, and I guess that's the movie.
Right.
And then they had, and here's something I think the thing that really gets me, and we are going to go into spoilers here a little bit, so just be warned, is the end of the movie. They bring somebody back that they've been looking for, who's been lost in the quantum realm or whatever, lost in this, super small,
lost in the MacGuffin.
Lost in the MacGuffin. And she comes back. Oh, well, she comes back. All right, I guess I just kind of, I don't know why I'm talking abstractly because I said that we were spoiling it. So they bring Evangeline Lilly's mother back, and she is able to just solve the problem of the villain who's dying by just kind of laying hands on her for no reason. It's kind of like we can't really explain. We don't really have time for the villain to be cured or fixed somehow. Then we've kind of established for some reason that they need to suck energy out of Michelle Pfeiffer and put it into this, and it's just kind of, it's like a lot of lazy technobabble, whatever. But for some reason, Michelle Pfeiffer can just kind of touch her and kind of her hands glow, and it's this weird, unexplained power for no reason. But we need something that can fix the problem, and we're already running at 2 hours and 10 minutes, so we're just going to give Michelle Pfeiffer this power to fix it. And it's
but it's not a permanent fix, because that's what they're doing at the end, right? He's going back into the tunnel to like get more energy or whatever to help their friend.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that's what's happening, because he says like, we're doing this to help our new ghost friend.
You could be right. That might have evaporated right past me as I saw that. But yeah, maybe it's a permanent solution, maybe it's not. I don't know. All I know is it was like, this is going to sound really awful, and I don't mean it the way that this is going to sound. It was like kind of like a latter Schumacher era Batman movie where it's just like, we don't really care about the mumbo jumbo anyway, so let's just kind of, she touches her and she fixes it, and let's get out. It just was irritating.
Well, I'm sorry it didn't work for you. I thought the movie was really fun. The crowd I saw it with was really into it. Yeah. It certainly seems like, and like I said, I haven't seen the first one. It seemed very kid friendly. Yeah. Too. Like, maybe, it's certainly lighter, so you could take a younger kid to it. Yeah. It was fun. I mean, I would definitely watch it before I'd watch like Iron Man 2 or 3.
Well, you know what? Iron Man 2, well, yeah. Iron Man 3, I really do think is pretty good because it does a lot of interesting things with Tony Stark's character. Iron Man 2, I enjoyed a lot. This is a little bit like Iron Man 2, where it's a mess, but I enjoyed it. And I guess that's the thing with this. And kind of the first Ant-Man, even though I don't think the first Ant-Man was nearly as much of a mess as this one, it's like it wasn't fun enough to be as messy as it was.
Okay.
For my liking. So, yeah. But I want to talk to you about, because you've been talking to me for weeks now.
Yeah.
In text about Heredity.
Yeah. Hereditary.
Hereditary, yes. And my son went to see this on his own with his friends and flipped out for it. And like the next day he went again with like another set of friends because he was like completely evangelizing this movie. So I had heard on several other movie podcasts that I trust, like, holy cow, this is like an Exorcist, Jaws, Silence of the Lambs level. You will flip out watching this movie.
Well, that's some really high expectations to put. No movie should have to try to live up to that.
Exactly. So I had tamped my expectations down, and then halfway through, I was like, oh wow, this is really going in some interesting places. Like, this is really leaning in, because what I had heard, one of the podcasts I listened to, is the Grierson Unleashed podcast, and they were relating their experience of watching the reaction of people seeing it at Sundance, which is people going in and kind of tweeting their reactions. And it was like, oh, this is creepy. Oh, this is whatever. I don't know what the hype is. Oh, this is pretty. And then like the last half hours, get me the fuck out of this theater. Holy shit. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God.
So I went and saw this movie with my niece Lorelai. She's 15.
Holy moly.
And so for for a good chunk of the movie, I was like, this is really good. Like, this is a really spooky, like intense, like family drama almost, and then, something horrible happens. And I was like, that's so horrible. And it was like, really shocking and disturbing. And, Toni Collette's so amazing that I feel so bad. I was like, oh, I can't even imagine what she's going through. That's like so terrible. And then, and like you said, the last half hour of this movie goes off the fucking rails. And people in the theater that I saw it with were losing their damn minds. Yeah. Like, I mean, they were screaming. They were scared, really, really scared. And like jumping. And when it wasn't, when people weren't screaming, it was like this, like nervous, tempered breathing, like,
yeah,
like people were really freaking out. I was freaking out.
I've heard that reaction.
I have not stopped thinking about this movie since I saw it, and because it's so interesting. There's like so much going on in that movie, and I think you can enjoy it on a lot of different levels depending on how deep you want to dig into it. And I just legit loved it. Thought it was super scary.
It was scary. I think that's the thing, is for me, the scariest thing by far happens in the middle of the movie. And I had heard that this ramps up near the end. And for me, the end was kind of like a left turn. It was kind of like it would kind of be like a detective story or like an Agatha Christie mystery, where at the point at which Poirot is, how do you say Poirot's name? Poirot. Anyway, where the detective.
You mean the guy who ran for president?
That's right. Where it would be like the scene in the Agatha Christie like chamber mystery where the detective is going to explain to everybody who the killer is, and then it turns out the killer is somebody that's never been seen in the movie, and the explanation of the crime totally makes sense, but it's like we didn't see 3/4 of that shit on screen.
I like, maybe he's getting ready to reveal who the killer is in the chamber room, and then the whole room catches on fire and everybody dies.
Or something. No, that's the thing. It's kind of like, it would be kind of be like, and the killer is Stan, and there's like, Stan, who's Stan?
Record scratch.
And then he like opens up a diary. This is Stan here. Oh, okay, that's Stan. Oh, wow, that is pretty creepy. And that is, wow, yeah, I guess Stan.
I didn't think that about this movie, by the way.
Like the explanation of what was happening and why it was happening was kind of like, oh, that's kind of out of left field. Very.
I don't want to ruin it for people, but it's it's Rosemary Baby-esque.
You know what? Thank you for saying that. Rosemary's Baby is another horror movie that I was pretty underwhelmed by. So maybe it's this construction of horror movies, the way they do it, that just misses me. It could just be I don't like this kind of construction. Although,
I mean, I think this is not unusual for horror movies. I mean, even Get Out last year is pretty, kind of I don't want to say standard. That's not what I'm looking for. You're like, what's going on? This is creepy. Everything seems a little off. What's happening? And then the last half hour, you're like, what is happening? Like, it's weird.
It is. I think that's the thing is it's weird, but the revelation is kind of like, oh, we've been seeing the pieces of this leading all the way up to this, and it's kind of like all the pieces click together. With this, it's almost like a third of the pieces click together, and then somebody comes. It's almost like you dump out a puzzle and you put it together, and it's only a third of the puzzle, and then somebody else comes in later and dumps out 2 more boxes, and it's like, oh yeah, this is the whole picture. Here you go. And then they leave. And it's like,
I think it all clicks together.
It does, but it I don't know. I just felt
I just really like this movie, and I'm actually looking forward to revisiting it at home because I think there's a lot to dig in here with, I don't know, like one for about like mental illness, but also about like what we kind of, it's right there in the title, what we kind of inherit from our parents, basically, and like family dramas and parenting and relationships, and there's a lot there that I can see like people writing about this movie for years to come. And I don't think a lot of movies do that. And so tip of the hat to this movie for that.
So I will say, and here's what I will say is, I am freely admitting that this could just be my own weird reaction. Sometimes somebody goes in and watches Star Wars in 1977 and they just shrug their shoulders and go, wasn't for me.
Right.
And, meanwhile, an entire generation and an entire culture goes in and sees the same movie and things are changed or whatever. And sometimes you're just unlucky, and the thing that, starts a phenomenon just doesn't touch you for some reason.
Yeah.
Doesn't hit you, and maybe that's what's going on with me here.
Well, 2 people who were sitting next to Lorelai and I at the theater were stoned, and I was like, you've made a poor choice. You've made a really bad choice.
I would have loved to have seen that. You know what I would have loved to have seen, from what I hear, because none of this comes from my own personal experience, I would have loved to see somebody on shrooms watch this movie. Oh my God, would I love to see that. What I would like to do is actually turn my theater seat around so my back is to the screen and I'm just watching them.
You got the popcorn, just sitting there, just watching them watch it.
Oh, that would be so much fun. Oh, baby. Anyway, let's see what else.
I really like that one. I think it's going to be one of my favorite movies of the year. So I'm a little disappointed to hear that you're all meh about it. But
I will watch it again. But it did. I want to throw a horror movie idea by you.
Okay.
One of the things that I really liked about this movie, and I watched A Quiet Place and I watched this movie, and there are some kind of music cues and sound tricks that horror and like Get Out, that horror movies use, that are part of the genre and they're part of the fun.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that's great about Hereditary,
yeah,
is it does something in the middle of the movie that is like a real human level horror. It's not like some crazy supernatural whatever. It's a legit, a tragedy like this could theoretically happen to any normal person.
I don't want to like spoil it for people, but this is something that like I personally have had to deal with like my own child, like with food allergies, basically.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So like...
it's interesting because people are going to watch this thinking about the food allergy.
Yeah.
Thinking about what you've said, maybe. And they think they're going to figure it out and going to be able to anticipate it. And they are not.
No.
Anyway.
I'm just saying, like, that part, like, it ramps up, like, the tension of that scene for someone like me who, like, it's like watching your nightmare play out.
Yeah, basically. And it is. It's like watching your nightmare play out. And that is one of the things, because it's kind of like, and I think that's kind of why I like, one of the reasons I was so excited to see this movie is because I tend to like horror movies that are really praised, that in a weird way horror fans don't really like. Kind of like Paranormal Activity is a fantastically freaky movie that I love.
Do horror movie fans not like Paranormal Activity?
I think they don't, because not enough creepy horror stuff happens. It's all atmospheric. It's all tension. It's all suspense. There's not enough gore and craziness. You know what I mean? But this one, so I was for half of this movie I was like, oh wow, this is really creepy. But it got me thinking about a movie, and tell me if you think this would be creepy. I think this could be extremely creepy. What you do is you make a movie like about a serial killer, but he's not really a serial killer. He's basically a bank officer. And you have the same creepy lingering shots. You have the same creepy sound effects and music and vibe. You shoot it in a very chilly way, but all this bank officer does is get families to buy houses and get mortgages and credit cards that they can't afford. That's all he does.
This is why you keep telling me that The Big Short is a horror movie.
And every time he gets somebody to like sign their name or something, it's almost like the devil, you know.
You're so ridiculous.
And then all you do is watch him through the years as he kind of like interacts with the people he's gotten loans for and credit cards for throughout their lives, and they come into his office all happy and up and chipper, and then 5 years later they're still happy and up, but they're not quite as happy, and maybe the husband looks a little more irritated than he did, and then 10 years later it's like
so ridiculous.
Come on, tell me you could make a very creepy, very chilling, very horrifying. You tell me that could not be an extremely personal, creepy, fearful movie where
I'm going to make a horror movie about a guy who works at a fast food restaurant and he spits in all the food.
You could do that. That's the thing about...
Or someone who works at a grocery store and he bags all the groceries, but he rips the bag just a little bit at the bottom so that all your groceries spill out as you're walking up the stairs. What a nightmare.
Talking somebody into a financial life that they can't quite achieve, but they want to and they're striving for. So they spend their entire lives striving for something that they realize near the end, maybe, that they've like, oh my God, I've stayed at this crappy job and I've lived in this crappy town because I'm stuck with this crappy mortgage forever. And no, come on. That would be, I don't care what you say. All right. I guess I've gotten my reaction from you. I don't care what you say. If you gave me $5 million, I could make one of the creepiest goddamn horror movies ever made, and it would all be about, yeah, you know what? Yeah.
All right, everybody. You heard it here first. Get your Kickstarter going.
Yeah, get your Kickstarter going. It would be the...
What would you call this movie?
It would be the creepiest, funniest, dark horror comedy out there.
Would you call it Financial Activity?
No. I'd call it... I'd get some of the boilerplate text from like a credit card or something, like, you know... your rates may vary or something. I don't know. Something like that.
And the tagline's like, your credit score is going down.
That's right. Or you could, if you wanted to, what you could do.
Fees may apply.
This is an alternative way. Actually, now I think about it, I might have messed up my own pitch. Near the end, 25 years into this guy's career, one of the people that's kind of drowned in debt and wrecked his life comes in and shoots up the bank. Maybe. I don't know. Far. It's too much.
Now I'm not as interested.
One of those things, but I think that's too much. The idea of a Devil and Daniel Webster type devil that just does nothing but entices people and pushes them, I think would be fantastic. All right. Anyway, so let's keep going. We got to, my patented yammering on too long has returned. I'm getting my
Next.
I'm getting my rhythm back for being on the show, which is why this episode, I guess, is probably going to be 4 hours.
No, we're not going to allow that.
Next, Ocean's 8.
Which I still haven't seen.
It's fine. It's exactly what you expect.
It looks light and fun. Is that accurate?
It's light and fun, but it's like a Honda Accord of movies, I guess, where it's exactly what you expect looking at it after you glance at it on the car lot. It's exactly
but your mileage will vary. Got it.
The thing you think you're going to get is exactly what you're going to get and no more. And yeah, it would be interesting.
The Honda Accord of movies. Your mom will love it.
That's right. Your mom will love it. That's true. It's got Sandra Bullock.
It's very sensible.
You've
made a wise, sensible choice seeing Ocean's 8.
Incredibles 2. Did you see it?
Not yet.
Meh.
I can't even get Calvin to watch the first Incredibles, which is why, by the way, my son is named Calvin. That's who I'm talking about. He isn't into it. I've started it a couple times and it's not clicking for him yet. So I didn't take him. So I haven't seen it.
Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
No, I didn't even see the first Jurassic World.
Very, very meh. It's funny because
is it terrible?
It is terrible.
You don't have to say very meh. You could say it's terrible. Is it terrible?
No, it's terrible, but that's the thing is, and you know what? I'm going to spoil this movie. I don't care.
Do it. You're doing people a favor.
We have seen 5 Jurassic Park movies now. Get the goddamn dinosaurs into a big city, running around, eating people. That's what we wanted to see since the end of the first Jurassic Park. We got a little bit of it at the end of the second Jurassic Park. We got a little bit of it. I cannot tell you how full of shit Colin Trevorrow and whoever the guy is that directed Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, because they said, oh yeah, it took us 2 movies to get to this part. The end of this movie is the dinosaurs are out running around. It would not surprise me if Jurassic World 3 was called like Jurassic Planet of the Dinosaurs or something. Dinosaurs are running around. The last scene is like is a shot of some like velociraptors running down into Las Vegas or something.
Oh. Which
it's kind of like, okay, dinosaurs are out. You know, the Tyrannosaur is at some zoo and, you know, like walking in some, it's like, we you know, it's kind of, you know what
though? It's not, they're not even going to run around Vegas and eat people. They're just going to they're all going to like get together and try to rob a casino.
You know what it is?
That's all that's going to happen.
Here's what's going on.
It's a heist movie, Smith. It's a heist movie.
That's right. It kind of is, because what happens is so in the previews to Jurassic World, it's like, oh, this volcano conveniently is going to destroy the island that these dinosaurs have been on all this time. Oh my God, what a dumb idea. It's just like, hey, we're going to, you know, let's ramp things up. I don't know. What can we do? We've based 5 movies on this one goddamn island. How can we amp it up? I guess we have to blow up the whole goddamn island. Anyway, then once the dinosaurs get taken off the island, they get stuck in this mansion. They literally are all in this mansion in Northern California running around.
Are you making this part up?
No, I'm not. It's like a haunted house movie, but with dinosaurs. And that was supposed to be the kind of clever, whatever, stupid thing. But it's just like, Jesus Christ. They're just like right here. This is what it's like.
So the dinosaurs move into the house.
That's right.
Is that what you're telling me?
It's like the worst roommates ever.
Yeah, so they're terrible roommates.
That's right.
What you're saying.
Imagine this is the problem with the Jurassic Park movies after the first one. Imagine if the first half of King Kong, where they go to the island and they find Kong, was spread over 5 movies. And in the post-credit scene of the 5th King Kong movie, he finally breaks out of the theater and sees the Empire State Building. That's the move. That is what this stupid series is. I don't know what is going on with this series that they don't just have tyrannosaurs tearing around San Francisco or New York and pick your city.
Well, at that point, then, isn't it just Godzilla?
Yeah, that's what we want. Instead of Godzilla having actual dinosaurs doing that would be a hell of a lot of fun to watch. Yes.
Okay.
How many Godzilla movies have they made? 40? 30? That's what we want. Jesus, sorry.
This movie looks so stupid. But I thought the last one looked stupid. So that's why I didn't see it.
See, the last one...
But I know what's going to happen is they're going to make another one, and they're all going to be like driving fast cars or something, and you're going to make me go see it.
No, we are not. No, I'm done with Jurassic. Yeah. But there's also this subplot. This is another thing that Colin Trevorrow keeps yammering about for 2 movies. He I think wrote and directed the first Jurassic World, and then he kind of produced this one, which is we're going to weaponize dinosaurs. They're going to be trained dinosaurs.
What? Okay.
And
because they're not dangerous enough.
Right, because
all he wants is some freaking sharks with some freaking laser beams on his head, right. Okay?
But that's the thing, is there's no dinosaurs with laser beams. Because one of the plot points
how are they going to weaponize
World,
them? I'm just curious.
What was that?
How are they going to weaponize dinosaurs? Are they going to...
Are they
going to teach them how to use guns? Or...
No, that's the thing. Is one of the huge
fighting, huh? Like martial arts.
Right. Something. They're like trainable, and you put like a laser on somebody, and the dinosaurs like see the laser, and it's kind of like waving a red cape, and the dinosaurs eat whatever you put the laser on. But here's the thing. One of the big plot points of this movie is they're trying to get this dinosaur, and somebody shoots the dinosaur, and the dinosaur almost dies. You cannot, in the age of RPGs and machine guns, to say nothing of rocket-propelled drones and whatever, what would you do even with a brontosaurus that's weaponized?
Right.
What are you going to do with a weaponized Tyrannosaurus Rex other than throw 3 grenades at it and call it a day? It's like, I can imagine, like, if you want to go to the most jingoistic level of this, like the fantasy of, we're going to weaponize these dinosaurs and let them loose in Syria. I can imagine some hardened jihadists that have fought their way through Afghanistan, through Iraq, they're in Syria, and then they're fighting, and then here comes this big Tyrannosaurus Rex running across the battlefield. It's like, they look at each other for a second. What the hell is this? They pull out their AKs, and the Tyrannosaurus is dead. It makes no sense. No one's explained it in 2 movies why weaponizing dinosaurs would do anything.
I'm looking forward to... I hope this really happens, and then we get a whole series of movies about, like, dinosaurs with, like, post-traumatic stress.
Or something. That shit could be something. And here's the thing.
We would have won that war if they hadn't given up on us.
That's right.
They'll totally reboot like First Blood, but with dinosaurs.
First Blood, but it's with like a velociraptor that can sign like Coco.
Yeah.
And then
it's got a headband. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait.
Solo, a Star Wars story.
We did a whole podcast on this one, did we not?
Did we?
I'm pretty sure we did.
Was I on that podcast?
I'm pretty sure you were.
Holy
You liked this movie more than I did, remember? Because I didn't like it at all.
Oh, that's right, we did. Wow. Anyway, yeah, well, that's good, because my notes here say, meh. All right, yeah, we did talk. Oh, my God, that's amazing.
So everyone should go back and listen to that one.
Sicario. Day of the Soldado.
I did not see that. I saw the first one, though.
What did you think of the first one? Have we ever talked about the first one?
Just in passing. Like,
Okay.
I liked it.
What?
I thought it was interesting. I haven't watched it again.
Please explain this to me, because I've watched it twice now. The first, because I'd heard a
Okay,
lot.
I've only seen it one time, so
That's okay. I think you can probably help me out here.
Okay.
Because I watched it once. I heard about it a lot after went out of the movie theaters. It seemed like a kind of I've never been interested in like drug cartel movies or like drug
you
running
live
movies.
it. I get it.
Yeah, that's right. I just don't care. It's just, like if, a police officer is going after a shipment of cocaine, I couldn't be more bored. But for some reason, if you just tweak it and the police officer is going after smuggled wizard wands or something, you just put some little dumb sci-fi or fantasy element into it, and all of a sudden I'm in.
If it's about
100%.
weaponizing dinosaurs, you're interested, but
Pretty much. Anyway, what was I going to say? So I do not understand Emily Blunt's character in Sicario. I don't get it at all. I understand kind of Benicio del Toro's character and Josh Brolin's character, and I understand their motivations and what they're doing, and I understand what they were trying to do, which is they're more hardcore, they're more all in, they're willing to not live up to certain ideals, to do what they're doing. But Emily Blunt is supposed to be this hardcore, working on the front lines of the drug war FBI agent that seems to have never encountered anything having to do with the war on drugs. Like it all comes like the most rudimentary drug dealers are bad stuff seems to be a complete shock to her, and she can't understand why anybody would want to be hardcore against these drug dealers when at the beginning of the movie half of the people she worked with, one, they find a house filled with dead bodies crammed in there.
yes.
Then a bomb goes off and kills half the people she's been working with
Right.
on this huge drug bust. But for the rest of the movie, she's like, I can't believe you're cutting these corners and going this far to fight the drug. It's like you've seen these people dip people in acid, and why are you so freaked? Why it's almost like she's and I love the ACLU and what they do is important, and I'm not normally an ACLU basher, but it's kind of like the most stereotypical Rush Limbaugh version of an ACLU lawyer has been dropped into this story and given an FBI badge, and she just doesn't understand what anything is going on.
You're upset that she would follow protocol.
It's not even protocol. That's the thing is they are following protocol. They are following these things. The things they're doing are not that crazy.
But you just said they're not. You said they're cutting corners.
Well, that's the thing is they're presented like they're cutting corners, but it's kind of like, all right, now the president has authorized us to do this thing, and we're going to go do it. And you're treating the cartels more like an army rather than like a criminal street gang, which they are at this point. So you would using more army-like tactics seems like it might be something worth trying. But she's acting like, oh my God, I can't believe what you're doing.
Well, sometimes the president is wrong, Smith.
What was that?
Sometimes the president's wrong.
No, that's true. That's totally true. But I think here's the other thing is she's acting like, well, we've always done it this way. We've always done that. This is at the end of 40 years of a losing drug war. It's like she's not even thought about the drug war. She's not thought about what's happened in Mexico. She's not thought about how the cartels are essentially using money to corrupt every institution in all these Latin American countries, how they're, the levels of violence and horror that are happening in Mexico are rocketing through the roof. But God forbid we cross a border and shoot a drug lord. It's just weird. Is there a thing in that movie that I'm missing?
I don't remember.
Okay.
So I'm sorry. But it sounds like you don't think we've won the war on drugs when we clearly have.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what that's in reference to. That's, you know what? Let's move on to what you're talking. There's a couple other things. Succession season 1, another bunch of rich people acting like assholes.
Oh yeah, that's the one on HBO, right?
Which is on HBO, which is, I guess what it is it's kind of like the Falcon Crest of rich assholes being assholes
I couldn't.
in New York. To Billions, which is the dynasty, which is the gold standard. Like that's Dynasty is the real one. Succession is like the, I don't know. Was there a knockoff at Dukes of Hazzard?
There was a spinoff. How about that?
Was there a spinoff?
Yeah, it starred Enos. You don't remember that?
Oh, that's right. I guess that's what it is.
That was big news in my house. Anyway.
All right.
You really like Billions, huh?
I really do like Billions. Succession is just like, oh man.
I'm not even gonna bother. The previews did nothing for me.
No, everybody is a rich smug asshole on that thing. And if you want to watch rich smug assholes, Billions is a lot more fun. But you have a couple things you want to talk about.
Oh yeah, I did want to say I finished the second season of Glow, and I love it. I am not known for binge watching. It's not really my thing. I was able to get through Glow in like 3 or 4 days. It's so entertaining. I love everybody in it. I can't recommend it enough. I recommend it to other people. They watch it and then they thank me. It's so good. Did you watch the first season at least?
I did. I really like it, but that's one of the things that I have not been able to get to.
Yeah. I've also been watching the second season of Queer Eye, which I love as well. It's really just, the news has been so bad all the time that I'm having a hard time watching anything serious. Yeah. So Glow was a really good one, and Queer Eye is also very good for that. And then after Anthony Bourdain passed away, my husband and I started digging back into Parts Unknown, his series that was on CNN. And it's been really therapeutic, I would say. It's a good one, too.
My wife has been doing that, and I've been watching a little bit more. I feel bad because I kind of wrote Parts Unknown off as like, oh, it's another chef reality show thing. Like I always saw the previews or the quick commercials, but I never really watched it.
I used to watch No Reservations all the time.
Right.
But it had been a long time, and I hadn't watched really any of Parts Unknown at all. So my husband and I have been watching those together, and sometimes it's depressing. Yeah. Because, he was an interesting dude with a lot to say, and I'm really enjoying the show.
Yeah.
Did you want to talk about Westworld season 2? Did you finish it?
No, I didn't finish it. This season 2, I got like 3 episodes in, and I cannot think.
Okay, so
I wrote this down. I cannot think of a show more up its own ass.
It is 100% up its own ass.
Our 40th anniversary episode, or these are my 2 lines, or the Rick and Morty episode of Anatomy Park. This show is so pleased with itself and so intentionally difficult.
Yeah. Oh, it drives me up the wall. We had I had Peter Brown on the show to talk about Westworld, and I think I made it to about episode 7.
Mm-hmm.
But mainly based on Maeve and Maeve's storyline, because it is the one that they're telling more straightforward. That's the Thandie Newton character, in case people don't remember all the character names. It's the story that they're telling kind of in the correct order. Yeah. And because of that, like, I respond to that storyline the most.
Right.
The other ones, they're too much work. It's too much work. I'm like, I don't want to know, like, it's too many, like, different timelines, and what timeline is this, and which timeline is that, and, well, if you go into the chat rooms or whatever and read about, I don't want to do homework to watch TV. I should be able to watch your show.
Yeah.
Without doing extra reading.
How many different timelines are there in this season?
I don't know, because I don't pay attention to them. And
okay.
I feel bad that because Peter came on and, like, I had just seen the episode. You probably didn't even get this far, where she goes to, like, the samurai world, and
right.
It's a really good episode. It's super interesting. A lot of things that they laid the groundwork for in earlier episodes pay off. And I was kind of high on that episode when we talked. Like, I was like, hey, like, that's a really great episode. You know, the performances are really great, blah, blah, blah. And then I couldn't even get through, like, the next episode. Because once again, like you said, it's so up its ass.
Yeah, I tried to watch it. I tried to like it. I like the potential, but it's just kind of like potential. After a while, it's like you need to start paying off in a real way. And it just seemed like they were more interested in storytelling tricks than kind of telling a story that is followable. And I love storytelling tricks put to a purpose. But, like, it's funny because I think Christopher Nolan's brother, works on the show, and he's one of the big movers and shakers behind it. And he, you know, both of them have always when they've worked together, they've told stories on nonlinear ways, whatever.
Well, I just think that is just, yeah.
And Christopher, actually, now I think about it, Christopher Nolan's, the only interesting thing about Dunkirk is the kind of nonlinear way that it, you know, 3 different timelines that it's paying attention to, that you take that out and the underlying story is just not that interesting at all. And this is the same thing. Actually, wow, gosh, now I think about it, I never put the two together. But yeah, it's almost like Christopher Nolan or Jonathan Nolan took 3 different timelines. I'm going to weave them together in a way that you might miss that they're even woven together. And this is what I'm going to do on a TV show over a season. And it's just like, and now over 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a really hard time with this show.
Yeah.
Like, I have mixed feelings about it because I do think the performances are really good. Like, everyone in it is really good, but it's just too messy and overly complicated, and I can't.
Right.
There's just other things. There's just too much good TV. I can't waste it on a show that's being this. It's almost lazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that's the thing. You know what? That's the thing that's weird about it. Is it's obviously not lazy at all in the in the complexity that it's putting its stuff together with. But it's very lazy in terms of, like, the underlying story. It's just, all right.
Well, and, like, just with everything that's going on in the world, like, the show it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be a bummer, you need to still be really good. And I just don't think Westworld has that. Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons, for example, I walked away from The Walking Dead is this show is no longer good enough for as bleak as it is.
Yes. And that's why I stay with Game of Thrones.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's very well said. All right. Speaking of Game of Thrones.
It got a whole bunch of Emmy nominations.
So now we are going to the part of the show. I don't mean to speak for you, Sonia, as host of Dorking Out. But we are now going to our segment where we talk about the Emmys and what's going on with them.
Yeah. What do you want to say? No. No, you know what? I think it's important to remember, like, because people get all worked up and they're like, well, this wasn't nominated and that wasn't nominated. And, you know, those kind of conversations can be fun, but it's also important to there's so much awesome, great TV out there.
Right.
That not everything could be nominated, but it's important to remember, like, if something you love isn't nominated, it doesn't mean that what you love is shitty.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Like, and remember, like, a couple years from now, no one's going to be like, oh, you loved The Good Place? Well, how many Emmys did it win? Like, no one's going to care.
Exactly.
So
Right.
I think it's important that, we don't need to all lose our minds over Emmy nominations. But there was some really good nominations in there, and I wrote a few down that I thought were kind of cool or interesting.
Let's hear them.
I thought this was kind of exciting. Veep wasn't eligible this year because it took a little break, and Modern Family wasn't nominated. So there's a bunch of new comedies nominated, which I thought was pretty cool, including Ted Danson getting nominated for The Good Place, and it's the first time in like 25 years.
I need to get back and watch The Good Place. I watched like episode 1 of season 2, and they're going into season 3 now, aren't they? They're still going on that, right? Aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
That's
very
what
excited.
I hear.
I really like that season 1 of that show. I really like the twist at the end. So yeah, I'm very happy to see.
I watched the second season, and it's really good. It's a good one. It is one of my favorites, and there's definitely like shows that I super love that didn't get nominated for things, and I would have loved to have seen nominations for like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and things like that, but
right,
it didn't happen. I thought you might like this. Bill Hader and Donald Glover are both nominated for their shows, Atlanta and Barry. And they're nominated for writing, directing, and acting.
Holy smokes.
Isn't that cool?
Smokes. What is it like? I wonder what it would be like to be Bill Hader or Donald Glover right now with getting nominated, doing that work, working so hard, wearing all those hats and getting recognized for each and every one. That's got to be nuts. But I do want to say, Barry,
I actually haven't watched it yet.
Have you watched Atlanta?
I have watched some of Atlanta.
Okay,
of the first season. I'm pretty behind on it, but
yeah.
I will be catching up.
Because I think there used to be something like this for Orange is the New Black, and where is Atlanta really a comedy? Like we're starting to get these shows like I think Transparent was like this, where it's like, yes, it's a comedy and it's being billed as a comedy and it's being sold as a comedy, but is it really a comedy?
Isn't Shameless the same thing? Like,
yeah.
I don't think Shameless is a comedy, and Nurse Jackie wasn't a comedy either.
Yeah, but they were quote unquote
because they were a half hour or something.
Yeah,
that somehow fell into that category.
I guess for maybe when it comes to these awards or whatever, I don't know what it is about me, but I'm constantly trying to reinvent them or thinking about reinventing them. It's like there needs to be a third category. There's things that are obviously comedies and are there to make you laugh intentionally. There are things that are obviously dramas and that, like The Americans or The Crown, that's a drama.
Right.
But it's like, and I would put Barry in there a little bit, even though it's a little bit more obviously a comedy. It's a really dark.
I love Bill Hader. And I love Donald Glover, so I'm kind of excited just to see them getting that kind of acknowledgement. Yeah.
Or actually, now that I think about it, would you say Glow is a comedy?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
Glow is on my list because it is nominated for a few things, but it was not nominated for Alison Brie or Mark Maron, which I thought was really interesting because they are kind of the leads of the show, and instead it was Betty Gilpin who plays the wrestler Liberty Bell, and that was kind of an oversight. But then there's a lot of great people in those categories, so it's not like there's someone in the category where you're like, fuck that guy, why is he in there? It's not that kind of thing. I also wrote down that Cameron Britton, who played oh my gosh, what was his name? In Mindhunter. He's one of the serial killers that they interview.
Right.
He is so creepy.
Yeah.
In that he is also nominated. I like that Alex Bornstein is nominated for the Marvelous Miss Maisel.
Right. Yeah.
I thought she was really great, and I know you would be excited to know that the Pickle Rick episode of Rick and Morty is nominated.
You know what? It's funny. I saw that. I am glad that Rick and Morty did get a nomination, because I do think it is maybe my favorite thing running on television right now. But the fan base of that show is so irritating,
yes.
and the way that fan base has gravitated towards that episode is
yes.
so irritating.
I understand.
And that's a fun episode, and it is kind of a meaningful episode, and it's I don't know if you've seen the episode, but it
yes.
is kind of
I'm all caught up.
Yeah. So it's very it's
my husband does like to walk around now and say, the Emmy nominated Pickle Rick.
I love that. I don't know. I wish it would have been almost any other episode of that season.
Sure.
But actually, yeah, it's funny, because I think now that I'm saying this, I could be wrong. Because it's people, or I frequently remember the Pickle Rick vibe of it.
Yes.
And then when you realize why he's a pickle and where it's going and what he's done, and the weird, just the bizarre left turns that show takes and then can come back is what is the guy that he encounters, the jackal?
I don't remember.
The super assassin that he's.
I don't remember, but it's such a weird episode.
Such a weird episode, but then it kind of lands in a pretty nice way.
Yeah.
That I thought was great, but anyway.
So, what did you think about how Twin Peaks: The Return was kind of not it was like nominated for like a couple of technical things, but Kyle MacLachlan wasn't nominated at all, which I think is wrong.
No, it is not. I don't think it's wrong at all.
I think it's wrong. I think to see something like the assassination of Versace being nominated for all the stuff, and to not, Kyle MacLachlan was really great in Twin Peaks.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you there, Mansfield. He was fine, but
I think he was great. He was basically playing 3 different roles in that show, and I thought he was really great at it, and I think it's wrong that he's not nominated.
I think he was okay at it. I thought his portrayal of Dougie was. I'm not going to say this. What I was going to say in a hyperbolic way was borderline offensive. I don't think it was offensive, but it seemed like a very, hey, I'm going to pretend like I'm a simple person. It seemed like a very Hallmark movie 1980s performance of somebody that with mental difficulties that I was just not.
I disagree with that.
And I am thinking about going back and trying this show again just to see what's up. But I can, like, when you look at the Americans, from what I understand, it's going into its last season and fantastic.
It finished its last season.
Right. Actually, so I was correct 2 years ago when I said it is probable that this show will complete its entire run before I will even begin watching it. I did begin watching it, and it is good, but I, as with everything, I got super busy. The Crown, okay, maybe. I don't know. Twin Peaks is very interesting, and I don't think you could fairly have the original Twin Peaks not get nominated for whatever, but it was very interesting, but I don't know if it was worth it. I don't know if it, like, okay, so let's say you take off Stranger Things, I guess. Yeah, I mean, when I look at this list, I would take off Stranger Things. I would take off Westworld.
But I don't even think it would fall under drama series.
Well, that's the thing, is where are you gonna put it?
You put it under limited series, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, so let's look at limited series. Let's see. Good Lord.
Where's limited series? I'm all. Where is limited series?
Lead actor in a limited series. Outstanding limited series. The Alienist. Jenny Versace, Genius, Picasso, Godless, Patrick Melrose. Yeah, okay, I guess. Throw it on there if you want to. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just.
What were you excited about when you saw the nominations?
Not really anything. I think that's the weird thing about the quote unquote platinum age of television is there's so much undeniable good stuff out there that you can watch and enjoy that it's kind of like, oh yeah, I guess The Crown should get nominated. Oh man, Game of Thrones, yeah, it's really good. So I guess that makes sense. Handmaid's Tale, that's good. I think it's almost more along the lines of why is Westworld on there?
Well, so that's interesting because I was actually seeing that a lot, like people shitting all over the fact that Westworld was nominated for stuff. And like, would I nominate it for drama series? No, I would not. But it's mainly nominated for acting, right? And everyone in it's really good. It's not. Would I nominate it for writing or anything? No, I would not.
Yeah, it's there in outstanding drama series. That's pretty undeniable.
Yeah. I'm like, I wouldn't put that on this list.
Yeah, so it's lead. Two actors in the lead drama series. Lead actress, supporting actress. Yeah, that's it. So it didn't get any writing awards or whatever. But it's. I think I'm almost wondering now if there's a little bit of a 1990s, early 2000s Miramax thing happening with HBO.
Oh, for sure.
In that people are so used to just nominating whatever they throw out that, Well,
and they should. Well, then HBO should start to get nervous because they did not lead the pack this year.
No, they did not.
And apparently that's the first time in like 12 years that HBO didn't have the most nominations. Netflix did.
Yeah, which is interesting because I'm looking at like outstanding comedy series. Excuse me. In Silicon Valley, season 1 of Silicon Valley was one of my favorite comedy viewing experiences of the last couple of years. This last season was very bleh.
Oh.
Last couple seasons have been fine. But nothing, I don't know, nothing spectacular.
Yeah.
No,
I would just say between like the comedies they're doing, the dramas they're doing, the stand-up comedy specials they're doing, the documentaries that they're doing, like Netflix really is like what HBO used to be.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing though. I don't think as much as hold on for a second. As much grief as I'm giving HBO and Westworld, I don't think Netflix has produced a Sopranos level, Wire level, Breaking Bad level, Game of Thrones level show. I think it's done like a Shield level show where it's really good, better than a lot of stuff out there, but it hasn't gotten into the. I can't think of an all-time undeniable classic Netflix has made yet. Definitely not in the movie, the motion picture space.
Right.
A lot of their big splashy motion pictures have been quite mediocre.
Yes.
House
They're
of
doing
Cards,
really well with their documentary series.
Yeah,
I would
that's
say.
true. That is true, and I'll give them that. I just finished watching the Staircase over 13 episodes, 9 episodes.
Well, the Staircase that's an older one. That's from Sundance.
Right, but they also they did new episodes. And why and I think Netflix is starting to fall into this is why tell a story over 6 episodes when you can tell it over 13.
Sure.
So I'm waiting for that because I really enjoyed the first season of Stranger Things. The second season was just kind of like, all right, I guess we're still doing this. I don't know that there's an undeniable classic. Like House of Cards, the first season was, I thought, unbelievable. I was like, wow, this is going to be fun to watch. And then it just turned into it was one of those shows that was just very bleak, and it was not quite good enough to be as bleak as it was. And then I think it was the 5th season where I watched a YouTube like 4 seasons in 20 minutes or whatever, where it was kind of like previously on House of Cards, and it told you everything that happened over the previous 4 seasons, so you can get ready for the 5th season. And it was just, as I was watching it, I was like, wow, when you put all this stuff back to back, this show is ridiculous. This show is really, really dumb. So it kind of like broke the spell for me. Yeah. So let's look. Hold on. Biggest snubs and surprises. Let's look at Vanity Fair. Biggest snubs and surprises. I'm not seeing anything that I could have. All right.
No, there's just, like I said, there's just so much good stuff. You know, and they expanded some of the categories to even make room for some of the people, and yeah.
So I
guess
it's fine. You know what? Yeah, you know what? I guess that is the thing that they're doing. They're kind of like doing the Oscar thing, where it's like, if we have more good stuff to put in, let's put in more good stuff, and they're doing it, and it's great. And I can't think of anything. Twin Peaks is a conversation piece that like should it or shouldn't it, but I can't think of. Let's see here. This is on Vulture. Egregious oversights is how they put it.
Egregious oversights. That's very official.
Exactly. There's
very
nothing
proper.
Egregious about any of this stuff. The Good Place wasn't nominated for Outstanding Comedy. Okay, maybe. Killing Eve, a no-go for Outstanding Drama. Haven't seen it. Hear it's great. Maybe. Kit Harington and Emily Clark weren't nominated. So what? Who cares? I mean, okay, One Day at a Time got totally overlooked. You know what? I watched the first episode of One Day at a Time. It should have gone overlooked. It was awful.
Oh, people love it.
People talk about it. It's cool to love it. Have you watched it?
No.
Give that first episode a shot. And
you're not really selling me on it.
Tell me if you genuinely enjoy it. I don't think I see what they're trying. I see what the ambition was. I'll give you all kinds of points for that, but the execution is just like, well, this is why they don't make.
There's just like we keep saying, there's so much good stuff. Like you can't, like it. What, everyone gets a trophy? Like you just can't. Like I can name a bunch of, like, Speechless. Speechless is great. Yeah. Why isn't Speechless nominated for stuff? Why isn't The Good Place nominated for more stuff? And why isn't everybody who's in The Good Place nominated for more stuff? Like, they can't nominate everybody. Well, but these writers, they gotta write their pieces.
Exactly, so. They gotta write something. For example, here's one of their points: Will and Grace lost out on multiple fronts. Yeah, did you see it? Compare Will and Grace to Barry or Atlanta, and tell me why it should even be in the same conversation. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Or this is one. More than half of the Pearson family got snubbed. Sterling K. Brown and Milo Ventimiglia, both were recognized for their performances on This Is Us. But the other 2 members of the Big Three, Chrissy Metz and Justin Hartley, and the family matriarch, played by Mandy Moore, got no love. That's because you can't nominate the entire cast. The entire cast of a drama can't take up all the nominations in the drama category.
They can. They just didn't.
They didn't. It's impossible. I cannot imagine a show that is so undeniable on all those fronts that it would shut out every other show.
Right.
All right. This is dumb.
Okay, we're done.
We're done. Is there... Yeah. No, we're done. I'm now that Kerry Russell is probably going to be awarded an Emmy for her performance in The Americans. I suppose I should probably watch it at some point.
Well, we don't know that she's going to win. Elizabeth Moss is really great in Handmaid's Tale.
True. Another
But
show,
it is their last, chance to give her something. So
right.
It could happen. When are you coming back again?
Probably sometime in August. I don't know.
Okay.
We will talk about it off the air, and what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to tweet more at you. I'm going to try to tweet a little bit more because I would like to maybe talk about Mission Impossible.
Ooh, yeah.
Are you going to be back around that time?
I was going to announce on the show that the show is not going to be here next week because I'm going on vacation. So I get back like July 30th.
Okay.
So we'll have to do it after I get back.
You know what then? Let's talk about this. I might be on the very next episode of this show. I would love you know what? Here.
Because I want to see that movie. It's like the top of my list.
Here's the thing is I was very excited for it. And then the review embargo got lifted for it.
Oh, I haven't read anything about it.
And the hype for this movie sounds insane.
Oh.
I've seen at least one reviewer invoke Mad Max Fury Road.
Wow.
You better be careful. That's like the modern, it's as good as Raiders of the Lost Ark when it comes to action movies. It's like slow your roll, chill out, settle down, because you cannot pull that gun out of your holster without some serious intent. So I don't know. So I am now, unfortunately, now what I think might be happening is I might be getting overhyped, and it'll be good. But it's funny. I watched over the last couple of days. I've watched the last two Mission Impossible movies, and man, those are fun movies.
They're super fun.
They're just so fun.
Yeah.
And say everything you want about Tom Cruise and whatever, and it's probably all true, but holy moly, does he act the shit out of those movies. And it's kind of like, it's funny, there's an awful lot of Harrison Ford in his performance of Ethan Hunt. A lot of the he's doing all the spectacular stuff, but you can see that it's hurting him and he's getting tired and irritated with having to be the hero. And it's just so much fun to watch.
Well, then let's try to make it happen. And we could talk about that one because I really want to see that one.
Cool. So sometime the week after, sometime the week after it comes out, we're going to have an episode where we talk about Mission Impossible.
Yes.
Cool.
Sounds good.
All right.
And then everybody, you can find Dorking Out Show at dorkingoutshow.com, and you can follow us on Twitter at Dorking Out Show. And where can people find you, Smith?
They can find me on Twitter sometimes at Jet Jurgens. I am.
Do you want to tell people where they can find your video production company?
Yes, rocketspots.tv. That's where you can find me.
Very
good.
What?
Come on over there. If you need a video done, if your company needs a video done, if your campaign needs a video done, hint hint, that's another things that I'm doing this summer. Because a candidate that I worked for won the primary, so she is going on, and that means more work for me. So that's
awesome.
Great. So one of the things that's making me so stupid busy. I'm very excited about it, but we don't need to inject even more politics into the show.
I do that all by myself.
That's right. So thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you for coming back on the show. We miss you.
I miss the show. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys very soon. Surprisingly soon. Now that we're talking about this, I'm shocked at how soon it will be when we talk again.
Do you want to say anything else before we go?
Nope. I'd just like to say bye.
Goodbye.